Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 2020 MVP Open at Maple Hill. This coverage is presented by OTB Discs, and we are almost through with the entire Disc Golf Pro Tour season. Big Barry commentary, Jeremy Koling, joined by Paul Ulibarri.
That is right.
Let's get right into these players. Andrew Fish is upside down in excitement to get this round started. An incredible round one. Did not miss a single putt and was on the fairway all round, first place in both of those statistics. Garrett Gurthie, obviously with a little bit of controversy with the scoring error. It's not necessarily a good situation for him, but he still played in that incredible round one. And Kyle Klein, the young player from Wyoming, Michigan, he's seeing triple vision, quadruple vision today. And Paul McBeth, former champion of this hole, aces won. That's right, hole 8. The amazing hole-in-one with his Luna. Getting right into the action. The famous hole one here at Maple Hill Gold's par 4, 835 feet. And one of the most fun things you can do to start your round is just rip a driver. And that's what we get to do here and try to finish somewhere near this road to open up the angle for the second shot into this tight green.
Looks like they just keep carving back into this wood line just to make it harder and harder every year.
From Baltimore, Maryland, shooting a 9 down, Andrew Fish.
Very impressive first round, and what would be even more impressive is that he did that little cartwheel
Into a run-up.
That's
right. Andrew, well known for his smooth game. He is such a proficient player in the woods. This is turned over a bit, and that's not going to be the angle you want to start off with any chance at a birdie on hole one, but he's across the lake, and that's okay.
From Gainesville, Florida, shooting a 7 down, Garrett Gurthie.
And there's a few holes that have a huge advantage for a birdie on this course. Hole 1 comes to mind, 10, 11, 12. Garrett Gurthie able to go huge driver, and this is actually drifting farther left than I think even he would like.
Yeah, this is, we're not used to seeing that. We're used to seeing that nice big flex, at least. The mistake is to overturn it, I feel like, for him.
Third from Wyoming, Michigan, shooting a 7 down, Kyle Klein.
I had the opportunity of spending a week with Kyle Klein and his family in Michigan this year when we were in Grand Rapids, and this young kid has got a lot of energy. He loves disc golf. He is playing all the time, and he's had some great success on the tour this season, and it's about time that we saw him in Jomez.
He reminds me of a very young Simon Lizotte.
Yeah, a blonde, skinny kid who's got a big whip. I mean, he can launch the disc.
Yes.
600 feet is not out of Kyle's
from
range.
Huntington Beach, California, shooting a 54, Paul McBeth.
One thing about this hole, we both have been playing here for 10 plus years, and I feel like the intimidating factor of the pond has slowly kind of gone away with the power and how good people are playing, to where it's not even a real factor when you get up to the top cards.
It shouldn't be. If there's a little bit of headwind, it can become a factor. And there actually was, throughout the course of the day, there was different periods where it got windy and calmed down a little bit. Paul's absolutely crushed that. That is past all the really problematic Christmas trees, is going to be in a really good angle to approach the green into.
But I feel like when I first came here, it was pretty brutal. I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of far type thing, and it's just kind of changed. I mean, with the growth of everything and how good people are getting and different discs.
And that's reflected in the course design having to change. The basket actually used to be on the other side of this rock wall.
Yes.
And then it became just barely in that little gap, as we see Kyle and Andrew having to lay up really good approaches just to put themselves into position for the par. But they've had to increasingly make this hole more difficult and more difficult over the years, and to the point now where I feel like they've landed on a very successful, very difficult par 4. I mean, we're starting off on the third hardest hole on the course at a 4.45 average, so that is definitely a doozy of a hole.
And Paul's starting off with a very difficult shot. Anheuser ended the green. He needs to get up, and that is a little love, a little luck,
Wow.
and a little sigh of relief.
I can guarantee you, I highly doubt Paul McBeth is going for that inside line backhand turnover. He's trying to go to that main gap and just give him an outside look. And I could be wrong there, but that was...
You're not wrong. You were 100% right.
And Garrett got a little bit more aggressive than I think he needed to from that position, and he's gone out of bounds over the stone wall. Andrew's going to have a little bit of a tester putt here. 30 feet left for the... 28 feet left for the par. And Kyle's got...
I don't mind playing on the rocks, though.
Yeah, if you don't mind playing on the rocks.
That's
you're
brutal.
more than welcome.
Oh, wow.
And the left side does come in a little bit earlier than that right side, so he probably just kind of got it up in the wind. The
Yeah.
wind took it, and it
It looked like
sneaks
that
up
was...
on you.
Mhm.
Especially being left on the fairway, it's a little bit more downhill.
Paul to start the round off with a birdie. Ooh, just gets that over the rim on the left side. That's in for the birdie. That was not matched by many players at all for the day. Only 6 players able to secure the birdie on this hole. The wind really wasn't that big of a factor. It just really shows when the wind is down at this distance how difficult this hole is just to get into this green.
A little bit high.
Oh, and that's a drop shot for Fish. He's a outstanding putter, a player who comes from a Frisbee background, an ultimate Frisbee star. And
I would think that he was maybe a gymnast or some sort of...
as smooth as he plays in the woods, yeah, definitely did something where he required a lot of athleticism and balance. And
Maybe a dancer?
I'm not going to presume he was a dancer, but he may have been.
Did you see what...
He would be a fine dancer.
Yeah. That would be great. Maybe a Garrett Gurthie Dancing with the Stars. I mean, that's something we need to watch.
That boy could probably dance. I'm
Yes.
telling you, that boy can dance. So we had 2 bogeys on hole 1, and Paul, one of the 6 players in the field, to take a birdie. And moving on to hole 2, par 3. We're going to call it 385 feet up the hill, because that's what it actually is. Slight elevation by about probably 5 to 10 feet of elevation rise. That stone wall on the right all the way down there is out of bounds, and players are going to look to throw a straight driver that drifts ever so slightly right as it moves its way down the left side fairway.
And there is a left to right cross when you get this on Anheuser, and it will drift a little bit more to the right. So you're going to try to stable up. This is the problem. When you stable up, that's what it does. It stables up. So you have to trust that disc. And if you're throwing the regular disc that you did in the previous rounds, it will drift over that wall.
And that's the mistake to make. That was close to being what Paul was looking for. But now he's just got a short pitch up for the par.
And I've seen a few of these guys pick roller, and I think this is a Essence, which is very understable, so I'm going to guess roller.
And guess correctly, you have done here. And this just is kind of a bit of a luck play, and Kyle has done that perfectly. The reason I say luck play is there is a pretty prominent ditch at the bottom of the hill, and
I've thought the same thing, but over the years, more and more people are doing this, throwing the roller, and it just seems to just get over that ditch. And
yeah, it almost hits the pole there. That is an absolutely fantastic shot for Kyle. The only luck really in that shot was the fact that it went between the tree and that stone wall. And that's a tough thing to do.
this is more like it.
Yes, that's the drive play that you're looking for. Andrew showing off the power and finesse combo that you need on this one. And something to be mentioned on this tee is that it's a rather short run-up. These tee boxes aren't necessarily that long. In a way, even though James Conrad has been a champion here as Garrett Gurthie squeezes through that tree, some of these tee pads are a bit of anti-James-proof in that they don't really allow you to take a very long run-up into the shot. That definitely can affect the power and the disc selection the player has coming into a hole like this, where you really have to throw with a lot of power.
Garrett getting through all of the trees.
We've seen him make this shot before on this hole, actually. And Garrett, great run. And that's a great bounce back. Bringing Andrew to even par. That bogey on 1 was the only bogey he's had so far in this event. Played bogey-free 9 under in the first round.
Few pars. Typical score on this hole would be like 1 birdie, 3 pars, maybe a bogey sprinkled in there. So this is a good hole for the group.
And that was just a highlight birdie for Kyle Klein. Such a smooth throw. You're really gonna see a really smooth form the way that this kid pulls through the one.
And he's not even a polished player yet. Imagine once he's been on tour for 5-6
he's
years.
A rookie.
Oh my goodness.
He's definitely a rookie on the tour.
The talent we have in this game, the future is bright, everybody.
Hole 3, par 3, 410 feet through the woods. A slight S-turn starting off left, drifting right, and trying to fade that disc back up the hill to the left is the way to get a birdie on this one. A tough shot to say the very least at this distance and the elevation change, but it is truly a beautiful hole through the woods.
And I would think that this is a slight headwind, but I was thinking that it might even be more of a help. Wow, that's something you don't see here very often.
The stone wall is the line for out of bounds. You have to clear that wall in order to be in bounds, and unfortunately that early tree just totally rocked Kyle.
I was going to say that headwind really makes the disc flip earlier than you would think, and it's going to make this hole play a lot harder.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, you don't need wind on this hole to make it difficult, and the wind just obviously adds an extra element. As we see Andrew Fish kick left, and that is a bit of the kiss of death on this one. The mistake to make is overturning the shot.
Paul McBeth. He says, I'm more of a hugger.
Wow. So ever so slightly kisses the outside edge. That was just the slowest drifting turnover. A really nicely tuned shot from Paul. And he'll have something inside circle 1, I believe. Maybe just outside circle 1.
Looked like just outside. I believe this is Garrett's Firebird. And this could...
Just got to miss that one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and a great skip up. Garrett's thrown an absolute gem. So Kyle moves up to the drop zone and throws a nice one.
Yeah, not a gimme from there by any means.
Mm-hmm. And Fish is kicked off.
Yeah, stagger stance with a back to it. Really tough shot there.
He makes that shot very simple looking at times. It's a very common thing for an ultimate player to be able to contort themselves in a backwards position and be able to throw a clean shot. Not this time, though, as Andrew's going to suffer his second bogey of the day. Just outside circle 1. Paul makes good. That's a great birdie. Good start. As our leader has seen a bit of struggle on the first 3.
Yeah, he seems a little bit out of sorts. I think that he needs to calm down a little bit, Andrew, and
yes, I mean,
a little bit animated, I guess, would be maybe the word.
Garrett collects his birdie.
I haven't played with Andrew a ton. I know that you have, maybe.
Yeah, I played with him last week, and he absolutely kicked my butt at Brewster Ridge, the wooded course in Vermont.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't want to play against him on that course or this course.
Yeah, he's definitely we've got a lot of good things to come from Andrew Fish in this round. I guarantee that. 10 players in the field of 106 players able to birdie that one. We saw 2 on this card. Very rare thing to see. That's a tough hole. Hole 4, par 3, 250 feet straight down the chute. Straight as an arrow. Very fast green. As you can see, it slopes down, I believe, 9% all the way down this hill. So got to throw something that has a little bit of brakes as you come down. The Paragon wall is there to be your friend and stop anything that's low from going out of bounds. But we're looking at Paul McBeth lining up a thumber.
I've thought about this. I'm not a thumber guy either, but I stepped up there today and I thought, maybe I'm a thumber guy. Threw the sidearm.
Wow. What?
Go
Whoa.
in. He's a thumber guy for sure.
That's the first career thumber I've ever seen from Paul McBeth, and he just steps up in a tournament, throws it, and parks it. Okay, that's pretty awesome. Just a bit right. We saw Garrett throw just a picture-perfect Sonic down the middle yesterday, and missed that one by just a fraction.
You know you're a smooth player if you have the confidence to leave the sunglasses on the top of your hat. If I'm throwing with the glasses on the top of my hat, those things are flying off in who knows what direction.
Andrew Fish looking like he's going with the overhand as well. And this play apparently is super great. Chris Dickerson...
A thumber when it hits upside down and then just like flies to the right. I feel like it's gonna go in one of these times.
It's just gonna like knife right through it.
Unless it's coming down.
If I get like 4 feet in one hand, it's running it.
Nice little hot take.
Huh?
I mean, Chris Dickerson also went thumber on this hole. Like, I've never seen Chris Dickerson throw a thumber before.
I'm going to do it tomorrow.
It's there. I think
friend
once
packed.
Sure, friend packed. We pounded it, folks. Kyle. A very common thing that you see for young players coming up in the game is to get so aggressive with their putting, and they end up making so many long putts. And I think that
no fear, yeah.
No fear is in their game, and I absolutely love seeing that. Kyle's a really good putter from distance. That one was so close to going in. Thanks again to OTB Discs for presenting this event's coverage for you guys to enjoy. On to hole 5. Par 3, 285 feet. Actually, it's closer to 265, but still, you just want to get it out over this water. A hyzer forehand play is going to be the most commonly seen play, but you also see a lot of backhand turnovers with mid-range or putters. If any shot that does not clear that wall and come back and bounce safely has to go to a drop zone.
The most important thing to do here is give it height. This is early.
Stick. Oh, I thought that was way over.
Short.
Wow.
And Paul has gone out of bounds. A big mistake there.
I think that had a chance of going OB.
Yeah, I mean, he has both of us confused. I thought it had the height, maybe just early to those trees.
And those trees do come in play on the short side. They stick out over the OB wall just a bit.
Here's a comet.
And this needs to miss that tree. Oh, no. And kicking back out to the water.
Worked. That was so good.
Just a slow turn. I think the play here for a backhand turnover is the quick turn that just
like this
kind of digs into the ground, like you see Garrett do perfectly 2 rounds in a row.
That's like you could do back-to-back flights, and it's
I think that
identical.
In a way, Andrew Fish is such a perfectionist with his angles that I think that he might be trying to just land the disc flat in that situation. And that can be your biggest enemy, as Kyle's throwing a forehand with a nice tree kick and is parked. But in this situation, overturning and hitting the disc on a right side edge is not a bad play for a right-hand backhand player.
Paul definitely probably giving that one a run.
Yeah, you
Definitely probably.
probably definitely did. And now he's got a long 33-foot comeback putt for the bogey.
Trying to get between those trees now.
Andrew still's got a little bit of work to do as well for his bogey. Paul will be up first. And that is going to be a double bogey for McBeth, bringing him from 3 down back to 1 under par.
So interesting how this front 9 is. Exactly like that. If you make a mistake, it's not just usually a bogey. It's double, and it happens so fast. They don't allow you to keep going forward with your out-of-bounds strokes very rarely.
Yeah, there's a couple holes in the back 9 where, like, hole 14 sticks out in my mind as a very difficult hole where you can take a big number quickly. But the front 9 has about 6 of those.
Yeah, hole 1, second shot, you go out of bounds, you're taking 5.
Yep.
Hole 3, as we saw Kyle have to get up and down from a really tough drop zone for a bogey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and certainly 5 brings a lot of big double numbers, some triple bogeys every once in a while. And we're not even off to the hardest hole in the course, which is coming up here on hole 6, as Garrett and Kyle both pick up their birdies. And this is the one where really this is the scariest hole in the course and can be, like Paul just experienced, the double bogey in just a snap of his fingers. This one can be a triple bogey in the same amount of time. Par 3, 375 feet. You're going to see some forehand plays that try to go up this middle and get a skip up to the right. Also some backhand plays just to try to get down to this corner. Every once in a while, you'll see an absolutely perfectly thrown backhand that makes this corner, turns and goes down this stone wall and gives a player a long look at the two. But this is one of the biggest bonus birdies you're really ever going to play.
And it really is such a simple flight. Once you get it correctly, it just drifts down there with very little power. It's just hitting that angle correctly and the gap, which is really tough.
And Garrett, believe he hit the circle 2 flag, so that doesn't mean your work is done, though. And down in that corner, there is a lot of very awkward places that your disc can be, even when you're in circle 2, just to get up and down for the par. Kyle showing off that smooth stand-up sidearm, and that's going to be a great place. That's just a jump putt from there.
Yeah, he can run that for sure, about 45, maybe 40 feet. And I mean, if you gave every person in the field that drive, they would take it for the rest of their lives.
There's a little bit of that smooth turnover action from Andrew.
Making the gap look extra big. It is really, really small.
And then sometimes it can be even smaller after a double bogey. But not for a player like Paul McBeth. And he's trying to go that inside turnover line.
Just a little bit too quick. Maybe a bit slower, and that's perfect. But it really plays as a par 4.
That was very crafty. Well done from Paul. And Garrett said, I got to take a look at that. There's not much. And you can see that from Andrew's line there, he's 65 feet away, and he has to go kind of Anheuser to stable, nose up, air bounce jump putt through a gap just to get to the pin. That's not.
Wasn't that just a spikeiser?
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't, Paul. I don't know. That's what it looked like for me from my angle.
Explained like a super Anheuser putt. He just did a spikeiser putt.
Okay. Nose up, whatever. Garrett did it too, so they're both good.
Kyle. Oh, give that to him.
Great run.
hit in there.
And it looks like we're going to have a group of pars on hole 6.
There's not a lot of holes that I agree with calling it a party, but this one,
Yeah,
this is a party.
sure. And at some point, we'll get to see Kyle line up a putt from 30 feet, and we'll get to talk about Kyle's putt a bit, because I think it's worth talking about. I like the way that he sets up for the putt. I like how he brings in the energy and keeps his hips open. I'm sure that'll come into play at some point in this round. He'll have a tesser putt. And a shout out to Cameron Messerschmidt, the only 2 on in the entire field in round 2 on
Wow.
hole 6.
Surprising, honestly, because it seems
Usually
like
see a
one will
couple.
get through there.
Hole 7, par 3, 370 feet, up the hill, up the road, and through a lot of trees on the way to Grandma's house. There are a couple trees right here on the left side of the fairway that you're trying to miss, just left side or right side. If you throw a great shot down the middle and you beat those 2, you'll have a good look for the birdie. And that is a gem from Garrett Gurthie.
God, that was so good. Now there is a ditch where he skipped, and that is where the big bad wolf presides.
Yes.
I love how Andrew sits there and he really visualizes. You can tell he's visualizing what he wants to do. Very focused.
Mm-hmm. This is overturned, and he's kind of happy that it didn't hit any of these early trees. Once you get far enough down this fairway, the right side does open up for little short approaches pitching up to the green.
Is Paul ever going to miss this shot?
I haven't seen him miss the shot, but I'm sure at some point he has. Not today.
Now, he could maybe not birdie the hole. Sure.
Yeah.
I get that. But
Right.
it seems like he's always up the fairway.
Yeah. And that's almost where he is every time as well, because he's playing to the left side of that V gap, that V tree up there.
He's making the whole play as the hole is supposed to be played.
Correct. And this is why this hole is so tough. 42% of the field at bogey or double bogey, and
Yeah, that wasn't the worst kick there. It leaves him this flex sidearm, which I know he's pretty good at. And that's not a bad spot. He can make that putt. Maybe this is where we're going
to see exactly what we were just talking about in the last hole. And then you can see why Andrew was jumping for joy by missing those early bunker trees. Garrett not quite getting far enough to be in normal putter range.
Yeah, it looked like he skipped over that, but it's a little bit further than the camera angle really dictates.
Yep.
Buckets.
Yep. And what I like about that putt is by bringing it into his hip and releasing forward, he's never really missing too far to the right or too far to the left. He's opening up his hand to the pole and not really allowing his arm to open up past that mark. We call that breaking the arm. Not like, right? Isn't that what you call it? Breaking? No, I thought that's what you said one time. I watched you do a clinic.
Breaking the wrist.
Breaking the wrist. Paul McBeth.
Don't break your arm, guys. Don't do what Jerm says. We don't want to break any arms.
And
McBeth is breaking the basket. That's good.
Maybe not breaking any course records today with a double bogey, but he's definitely putting some birdies on the board.
He just plays that hole so perfectly. It's like, if I played it like that, first of all, I would never play it like that because I wouldn't be able to play it like that. But even if I played it for a 35-footer every time, which I wish I could, I don't make it all a 35-footers.
Yeah, no,
and
Paul,
he does, and
Paul
he makes
does.
it look so easy. And that's why I was able to say that before the hole even started.
Yeah, he does. He breaks that hole down in a way that he knows he's going to give himself a chance, and he took advantage of his opportunity there. And A nice bogey save from Kyle. Moving on to hole 8, par 3, 320 feet. And once again, we're going to scratch that distance, call it what it is, 285 to the basket. Crosswater the whole way. Can we see Paul McBeth perhaps go back-to-back aces? Getting lightning strike twice. Not today.
Okay. A little turned over.
This is in danger of going out of bounds to
Wow,
the right.
yeah.
But fortunately for Paul, that's not out of bounds in the water early, so he'll be able to advance up there for a long birdie, for a long par putt.
Straight as a string.
Oh, but
Go.
getting that wind shear down, an awful air bounce. Garrett, that was on a great line. You see so many backhand mid-ranges and putters do that on this hole. There's just so much swirling wind over that water.
And this is a hole that you wish the person before you got 5 in a row and you got 4 in a row.
So you can
Because-
watch them play this
So that
hole.
you can get a nice wind read. And Paul
Right.
throwing a putter doesn't really give Garrett the wind read that he needs
Right.
with the mid-range.
Andrew, however, getting a nice read off Garrett's rock
And it
3.
did drop. Yep.
Yep.
And then Kyle, just a really bad
yeah.
correction out of all of that.
Yep. So we'll see 2 shots move up to the FPO tee box in the drop zone. This is not a shot you want to be throwing in the tournament. But Garrett almost makes it.
Man, his first shot was so beautiful, too. Just if it would have stayed up, that could have been a 1.
Could have had a highlight.
This needs help. Oh, what a lovely little tickle off of the branch. That was going right into that tree.
Yep.
I think they're discussing whether or not
but this
Paul
isn't
has to
an
go to
island,
the
so
drop
that
zone.
That's not in play on this hole.
It says if MPO gold tee shot lands OB in the water, proceed to drop zone 1.
But this isn't an island hole.
It's not an island hole.
So yeah, so I crossed inbounds up there.
If you're OB in water, you go to this tee.
I'm gonna play provisional, but that's not how it should be. It isn't an island.
So Paul's drive must have gone in the water on the long side, which is
In the water.
in the water. And that is a very strange... Oh, look at this. Dropping, and Paul's gone out of bounds long. And once again...
Here's what's interesting about this shot.
My
is
goodness.
if he
Drop zone?
doesn't play the drop right there.
That's the thing.
He's
that
in the
doesn't make
water.
sense.
And I feel like he
So
played a
he's saying
perfect
if I
shot
landed
and it
right
still
here,
dropped and
I
went
would take
deep.
it from here, but because I landed right there, I take it from back there. That's not the rule, Steve.
Like I said, if you just want to play it both ways like you did, I'm not
Yep.
Well, Steve's the TD. Steve, it's the same OB line. It comes right here.
So the corner would be that line right there.
It's the
which would
same line.
define right, and that's why we said at the beginning of the round, the rope defines, on this side of the pond, the rope defines the water. Because the same thing happens over there.
Why isn't that defined though in the rules? That is the exact spot where it ends.
Good argument.
I 100% side with Paul McBeth here. I think that it's arbitrary that water and land are different behind that line. That
Agreed,
line
yeah.
designates the backside. And if you're OB on the backside, I feel like you should be able to play it from where it crossed. It seems like a bit of a strange rule that they're going to need to clear up. It's a bit confusing even for the players. It sounded like it was maybe even a little bit confusing for Steve, the TD of the event, and hopefully they get that cleared up.
Again, I thought it was the shot that Paul threw from the drop zone. I can't believe that went out of bounds deep. I mean, with how fast
Yeah,
it dropped.
sure. Garrett, he's able to save his bogey, and Andrew Fish not playing his greatest round so far. He's 1 over par for the round, but he's the only one looking at a birdie on this one. Oh my goodness. Just a bit off. The whole group may be feeling a little bit uncomfortable right now.
Like there's a rope in front of it as well.
Which he defined that at the beginning of the round.
That corner is
You said the rock wall.
Yeah.
But this is not the same.
It is like a water area. I think that it's a valid question saying like where is the corner?
Yeah, and it's not marked. It goes around. To where if I was dry there, if there was anyone in my group, I'd be like, okay, you take it there.
If there's any change, we'll definitely address it by the end of the round.
So Paul doing what he's supposed to do, ask questions, and Jeff Spring, the director of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and Steve Dodge, the former director of Disc Golf Pro Tour, the TD of this event, all there. So those are the people you need to ask that question to, and they all say that's a drop zone shot. And so Paul McBeth will have to take the double bogey and try to focus as he plays the final hole here on the front nine. Hole 9, a par 4, 420 feet, up and over the hill, blind shot. Just got to miss those trees at the top of the hill. Try to get yourself towards the bottom and just jump putt across. That's a nice looking turnover. Andrew has thrown a beaut. I believe that's his Comet. That's exactly how you draw it up.
Yeah, if you like cake,
What does cake have to do with
it's yummy.
Okay. Well, Garrett, I'm not going to say Garrett likes cake. I don't mean to presume what he likes to eat,
That's
But-
yummy as well.
but that was tasty. Kyle going forehand, early kick left.
Maybe Andrew's more of like a sushi kind of guy.
That's a sophisticated meal, and I mean, as an engineer, he's probably got sophisticated taste buds.
And as a fish.
We went different directions with that, Paul.
Decent shot there. This is going to be a tricky little lie from the kid. The thing about young kids is they play pretty aggressive.
This was a very well thrown shot. Nice. I mean, I don't even necessarily think that he had an option to get aggressive from back there. That's to where that pin is located now. To get aggressive, to try to get across into is about the tallest task you can really ask for. Paul throws very nice touch with his zone, something that isn't very difficult to do if you've ever thrown a zone before. I'm just messing. That's a great shot from Paul, getting across in two, and Garrett does the same with his Sonic.
Two completely different discs, opposite sides of the spectrum, and
Yeah.
both making them look just effortless.
And a greatly played hole for Andrew Fish, the sushi man himself. Oh, wow. That's okay. There you go. There's the aggressive part you're talking about.
And Kyle is inclined to get a birdie on this hole after
okay.
all.
Incline. Nice.
He is a really, really, really great player.
Yeah.
For as young as he is, just to be able to lay it up. I bet you he was thinking, hey, if I lay it up down there, then I can be aggressive. Which is a little bit, he's being a smart aggressive.
Yeah,
which
sure.
is
I mean, you give yourself
something
an
you learn-
opportunity.
yeah, it's something you learn later.
Right. You're too young to know that, kid. Jeez.
Yeah.
And obviously, we mean kid in the best possible way. He's a very talented disc golfer, young player, though, only 18 years old. And I would say,
To you and I, in disc golf years, he is a child.
I turned 35 in a month, less than a month.
And I turned 102 in disc golf years last week. So
He's going to be just about half my age. So, yeah,
I've never made a putt like
kid.
that.
Oh, man. I would say Kyle Klein has probably played more holes of disc golf than anyone else on tour in the last year. Yeah, he is just always out there. As we take a look at the front nine, and Ricky Wysocki, the only player really able in the up top to really put any number under par. And Andrew Fish, he's still up top with his even par front nine at 9 under par, tied with Ricky. We've got local players that are doing good things out here. This is really great to see some great action. Any takeaways from that front nine second round?
Well, you know, we saw Chris Dickerson with a 5 under, so the front nine, it's a spot where you can score. But I do feel like when you have the power, the back nine is a spot where you can get a few in a row and really make a push. So I'm looking to see these players kind of do that, and can't wait to see it.
Yeah, we'll be back shortly with the back nine. Thanks as always to the Founders Club. You guys are the true MVPs. We'll see you in a minute.